But hey, guys, welcome to another episode of Trust Sports. My name is Malik Howard. I got my boy in the building, Liam Stokes. How you feeling, brother?
We're back, man. We're back.
Yeah,
Feeling good. The weather's finally turned. It was like 80 degrees yesterday. At least it felt like it.
yeah,
But man, this is like once you get past. I know we had a rough week. What was it last week? Constant
yeah,
rain. Those April showers. So now
yeah.
we're getting some sun, some nice weather. Everything just like food tastes better. The water's colder. Like when the weather gets nicer like this,
Yeah.
everything's just a little bit sweeter, man. It's great.
What's good? What's up with the Nebraska shirt?
Dude, I just thought
What
it
are you
was dope.
doing?
I wanted to rock it. I can't rock it when football season comes.
Okay.
I'm kind of like I'm segueing into being a Buckeye, so I first have to go through like Big Ten initiation. So like
Okay.
this is the initiation. It's the red. I just got to
Okay.
get the Buckeye shirt, but yeah, this is just my transition into the
Okay.
Big Ten.
Hey, shout out to us, baby. Get ready. Yeah, we got Liam. Liam's coming on board now. Liam's coming. I'm sending him stuff on Instagram. Be like, check out the boys.
Yep.
Make sure you follow these pages, the recruit pages. Hey, we just landed a big recruit today, actually, too.
Dude, we're back.
Hey, speaking
Dude,
of, I
we're
can't
trying
wait.
to get rid of this curse. We're trying to get rid of this podcast curse. So Leak's in on the Sixers. I'm in on the Buckeyes. We're going to see if if they win both, we're just going to have to swallow something. We're going to have to root for the Yankees and the Phillies together. We're going to have to, something's going to have to happen.
Yeah, we have to break it. That's what we have to do. And
yeah.
Hey, we don't have it here for you guys to talk about, but shout out to my Yankees, baby. It's okay. The one thing is we're Dallas Cowboys of the MLB. We could ball up early season, but once it gets to like that late August, September time, we fall apart. So I'm just happy to get some wins right now. That's it. We look good, man. We look really good.
You do.
The bats are falling.
Juan Soto.
That shuffle, baby. That shuffle.
I love him. I absolutely love. He's not to. And then we'll fully jump in. You know, he's on the Nationals and the Padres. So Phillies fans saw a lot of him.
Mm-hmm.
Dude's cocky. Mm-hmm. I loved it. I loved it from day one. Now he's a Yankee, right? So like everybody hates him. I'm in the minority. I love him. I think I'd argue he's the best pure hitter in all of baseball. So I just love watching him, man. He's so much fun.
It's funny when so all my boys are from up North Jersey, right? So they're all Yankees fans. Like being down here, I'm like one of the only Yankees fans. So it's pretty cool that like I have all like my boys who are Yankees fans of North Jersey. Like that's what they root for. It's actually surprising. Yeah, they're all Yankees. Definitely no Mets fans up there. But they all are like they've been going to all the games, right? And like they've been showing like the energy in the fucking Yankee Stadium was crazy today. And I'm like, whoa, like we might be making a little transition because the only energy that you see is Philly. Like Philly's the one that comes with that energy, right? But like right now, like Yankee Stadium is on 100 right now at these games, so it's like pretty cool to see like that atmosphere. Their players talking like dogs, like yo, we're some dogs out here. Like the energy they're bringing is not like that corporate America Yankee that you're normally used to seeing, you know?
Exactly, which is always such bullshit in this day and age. I hated the fact that they didn't do that. So, I'm glad they're starting to look. I texted you when Soto signed. I texted you when Marcus Stroman got there. I'm like, yo, not for nothing. You guys are going to have some dogs on your squad.
Yeah, man. Back to the Jeter days, baby. Back to Jeter days. But hey, let's split it. We just had some great, I would say was because of the two men's college basketball and women's college basketball final of the championships. We had a great, I would say, Final Four and championship games because of both sports being together. If you just had to focus on just the men's without any of the drama in the women's, I'd say it would be okay. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. But it was because of the two coming together that made it a good point. But let's talk about the men's at least. The men's, we had Connecticut back to back, right? This is back to back.
Dude, dominant. Literally dominant. They've won their going back to last tournament. I think they've won like 10 straight tournament games by 13 points or more.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. I saw like I think it was like an old video of the coach like maybe 3 or 4 years ago being like, get ready, Connecticut is coming. And like
that's after Nova beat him. Yeah. He was like, get us now while you can. And there's been a lot of rumors now that Kentucky job, John Calipari left, that Kentucky's going to throw the bag at him. But he's been hell bent. Everything I've heard since is he's focused on a repeat or a three-peat and only that. But he's fucking crazy.
You know, it's crazy. I was at a conference in Philly and a bunch of Kentucky like higher ed people were at the conference. And this is the day after Kentucky just lost, right? So I'm like, I see them, they all have the Kentucky gear. I'm like, I gotta talk to you, bro. Like, what is going on with Kentucky right now? He's like, bro, we just worked there. Like, we're just going through it. I'm like, what do you think about that coach? Like, are you getting rid of the coach? He's like, nah, bro. Like, he's pretty much a lifetime contract. And I'm like, yo, man, I don't know if you know this, but in college football, Jimbo Fisher or whatever, he's making, how much is he making a year to go away for 5 years? He was like, well, That's the truth, because he's like, I don't know what it is, like their budget is of Kentucky, but he's like, Kentucky, we have like a $4 billion budget. So I was like, yeah, you could give away some millions to just get rid of him. And what has he done? What else has he done that like he squandered UK? That's not UK. Back-to-back years going out like that. Like, what are we talking about here?
Yeah, that's been his thing. That's been his knock. And I think Jay Wright said it when they lost afterwards. He's like, look, it's not really totally on him. This is just his system. His system that worked before when nobody else was doing it was get these high touted recruits out of high school. They're going to be the one and dones, right? Like, look at some of the guys that he's coached. If you look at like college teams in the NBA now, Kentucky wipes the floor with any of them. They wipe the floor with them. So now you're kind of seeing, and what makes the tournament so special is it's not always the most talented teams. It's not the team with the best player necessarily. It's the best overall team that day. And for back-to-back years, they ran into a mid-major school that has had guys playing together for 2, 3, 4 years that know how to play with each other. And they're going up against these 18-year-old kids that were in high school 6 months ago.
Yeah. I saw that take happen, as well as like you're starting to see college basketball change to where these ads, like, that's why I love to see, like, what was that kid from? Like the white kid. He was actually they brought him into Barstool Sports, who like I forget who it is, but they're like, I love, this is what college basketball, like, March Madness is about. You'll get cooked by a guy who will be in a couple months be like a businessman, like working for corporate America, while you go to the NBA and like are nasty, right? But like, these are these kids that like are older, the teams are older, and like they can just play and compete against these kids who are, like you said, Kentucky, Duke, all these teams. You didn't see them there. Like, these are teams who are one and done guys. Like, maybe it's about time we start seeing these coaches go like, hey, I need to build a fucking roster. I need to build some guys that, like, yeah, they're great, but they do need some time on the bench. They do need some time to get behind somebody and like learn the system to be good so we can compete in the Final Four. Unless you're landing fucking all these guys who are fucking, I mean, let's be honest, like DJ Burns, for example, like, how many colleges he played at 2 schools before he even transferred to that institution? Like, I don't know I forget what schools he was at. Tennessee, I believe, and I forget what other school he was at. And now he's at NC State. He's at NC State now. Like, that progression to get to where he's at now from then is like, that maturity has to come to where he's that top guy now.
So it's going to be interesting, because one of the things I thought of with Calipari, because taking it back to UConn and their dominance, they won last year and lost like 70% of their roster. They graduated, they left, and they debatably had a better team this year that just ran through the tournament. And how he did it was bringing a couple freshmen, bringing one or two guys back, and then utilize that transfer portal. Well, Kentucky's got arguably the biggest budget in all of college basketball. I mean, they're almost like Texas football. If you want it, you have the money to go and get it. And I'm curious to see if, like, maybe Calipari is almost like Dabo Swinney down in Clemson, and his struggles a little bit, right? Not utilizing the transfer portal or the NILs, because maybe he's a little bit old school. Calipari can go walk into any high school 10 years ago, grab the best recruit, bring them to Kentucky, and they're going to dominate. Now, not so much. Now, is he not utilizing that transfer portal for guys like DJ Burns, who are playing at Eastern Carolina or Oakland University, or even like Tennessee's best player this year played at like McNeese State or something crazy for 3 years. And he led the nation in scoring this year for Tennessee. So maybe he was kind of like, look, it's my way. I'm bringing in freshmen, because he said before, my main goal, I'm going to get you to the league. I'm going to get you paid. So I wonder how he's going to do at his new school, and if he'll change.
He's at Arkansas, right?
Arkansas now.
Yeah, Arkansas.
Yeah. Which crazy. So what are you in conference? That Kentucky Arkansas first game next year in Kentucky is going to be one to watch.
Of course, it's the first game of the season. So that it's so crazy how that shit adds up that way. It's always crazy when
it might not be. I'm just saying, like, in general, like the first time they see each other, it's going to be it's going to be wild.
For sure. What do you think about Zach Edey and DJ Burns? Like, do you think they're going to be top guys at the next level? Like, do you think? No, I think. You don't think so?
Fuck no.
I think Zach Edey might have a chance.
No. So Zach Edey, look up Boban Marjanovic, because this is who he reminds me of. And Boban has had a 12-year NBA career based on the fact that he's 7'3" and just stands there like a fucking tree. A lot of the things that Zach Edey did in college football college basketball only translates into college basketball, right? Like, you watch Purdue games, they're feeding it through him. He has 1 or 2 spin moves off the block. He can't really shoot that well. he doesn't move really well because he's 7'4". Like he just can't run the floor as well. Like just watch Joel Embiid, watch Bam Adebayo on the Heat, watch Giannis, watch Wembanyama on the Spurs. They might put up 100 on Edey. And I think some team will take a chance on him in the first round, maybe the second round as like a backup center, and maybe he can make a living off of getting 8 to 10 minutes a game off the bench.
Okay.
At a high level, fuck no. And I wouldn't be surprised if in 3 years we don't even remember their names.
Really? Both of them? Really?
Yeah. Yeah. I think Burns,
Wow.
I don't know. Burns may have enough to hang around. But I'm not in on Edey. I think, yeah, he can be a lifelong like bench guy, but I don't see anything more. Okay. Hopefully I'm wrong, but
yeah, I hear you. Anything else on men's basketball? I kind of want to spin into women's and that being the focus.
I think, yeah. Well, that was really my only point is that men's basketball, man, it almost seems like it's taking a back seat. This was not a great tournament in my eyes. We said the same thing last year, that was not a great tournament. The numbers don't lie. And I also think part of it is whoever the fuck thought of having a national championship game on a Monday night at 9:30 Eastern time should be fired. Yeah. What are you doing? But yeah, it was weird, man. I think, again, we'll talk about the women's game and how popular it's getting and probably being the more exciting of the two tournaments. But men's college basketball, I think with those NIL stuff, like it's hard to keep track of these teams anymore. And I don't know. It was a lesser tournament for me. And I felt like you and I said the same thing last year when it ended. Like we were like, yeah, like it was okay.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. So you brought up the fact. I think we kind of made that prediction that I think I remember saying it, that this year I feel like the men's will take a backseat to the women's, and the women's will have more viewership than the men's by far. And I think it finally came out that was true, right? That's what the number said. Now I want to do a breakdown of the women's, but first let's talk about the championship games. So we had South Carolina beating Iowa 87-75. Again, this is exactly kind of what we talked about with the men's. You have a complete team who beat up on you. Want that one ISO with Caitlin Clark. I mean, again, Caitlin Clark did as much as she could against that team. You know what I mean? Like, she definitely is a baller. But you're going against a South Carolina team who are back-to-back champions as well in their own right? Who are ballers, right? You have the GOAT, Dawn Staley, coaching them. Not Philly. Philly as well. Yeah, Philly. This is what it's so crazy to me. All year, all you saw was LSU and Iowa. You saw a little bit of South Carolina here and there. When you look at Dawn Staley's record over the last 3 seasons, she's 109-3. So you mean to tell me that this South Carolina team was taking a backseat all year long, quietly going undefeated, and then goes with the national championship, and there's no uproar about it all year long about this team who just everyone I started to see it get mentioned like, yo, be careful, South Carolina's coming. But it wasn't nothing like crazy. It was always LSU, Iowa. Yo, what are we talking about here? Like, this is a fucking coach of all coaches. This is an elite level coaching who lost everyone last year. New team came in this 193 in 3 seasons. Like, there's no dominance like I've seen in my life more than this right now. Like, what are we talking about?
I know, and that's what, like, I don't know. Sometimes sports are like this, where it's not me saying it, but quote unquote boring to go 37-0 and just fucking rip through it. It had almost like when the Patriots were dominating those years with Brady. Like, you're like, all right, whatever. Like, I'd rather watch, Peyton go up against, Phillip Rivers. That's going to be an exciting game. Who's going to win versus the Patriots game where I know they're going to end up beating whoever the hell they play anyway. That's what it felt like with South Carolina, because you had Iowa LSU rematch. Like, that was the big deal. I got it. A lot of big names in that game. Then you moved on, and I feel like even in the Final Four, the Iowa UConn game was more of the bigger one than the South Carolina, and I forget even who they play, because again, it's like, okay, they're on, they're going to win, they're probably going to win by 15 or more. They'll be in the national championship game. Let's go watch Caitlin Clark. Let's go watch UConn women's, who when we were growing up, they were the ones that were fucking dominating. Look up what Gina Auriemma has done there, but. Dude, it's weird. It's almost like you're right. I don't think still now, a week after, that Dawn Staley and that South Carolina team is getting anywhere near the credit they deserve. 37-0, that's ridiculous.
And to win the chip, like, you don't just go undefeated in the playoff time lose. To go undefeated into the playoffs. Now, are you okay, no matter what, it's in the back of your head. Were you I'm watching to see if Caitlin Clark loses, or I'm watching to see Caitlin Clark win? Like, which side were you on?
So watching her more, this might be a little bit of like a you're a hater take. She kind of whines a little bit too much for me. Like
Oh,
she
she
really
bitches.
complains. She
Hell yeah.
really complains.
Hell yeah.
So, I mean, like listen to her interviews after, like how she talks, how she handles herself with her teammates. I respect the hell out of.
Yeah.
But I mean, look, I was rooting for the Philly girl. I was rooting for Dawn Staley. I was rooting for South Carolina. Like I knew that they were going to win because, like you said, they were the complete team versus Caitlin Clark.
Mm-hmm.
I thought UConn had a chance. I thought they were going to beat Iowa anyway.
I was watching that again.
The
only college basketball games I have watched this entire year are women's. I watched the entire UConn game and the entire championship game for women's.
Yeah, but I was probably, I mean, I wouldn't say rooting for or against because again, I wanted South Carolina to win, but in the back of my mind, I was like, you know, if Caitlin Clark does win, certified GOAT, like all-time leading scorer, got the chip, carried, like especially who you would have to beat. Like if you were the only loss to that South Carolina team, like you're awesome. And you know what? It's going to be exciting to see what she can do in the WNBA. I already saw the one girl you see who called her out, Diana Taurasi, who's been in the league forever for some reason. Like, well, her team is already marketing the game against the team that has the first overall pick and going to take Caitlin Clark. So everyone's like, yo, your own team is marketing the game against the girl that you shit on that's not even in the league yet. So it's going to be exciting. I hope she can run the league a little bit.
Now, okay, so this is my thoughts now. Now, shout out to Dawn Staley because she said she thanked Caitlin Clark. Thank you for the progression of what you have done for college basketball in the sport, right? Now, I think that it's a wash. I think everything that Angela Reese did and everything that Caitlin Clark did, you mean to tell me the WNBA is not going to market them crazier than ever before? The WNBA wants all that. We want all that tension. We want our playoff. I mean, I've never watched a playoff or champion, right? They need that all. I think, in my opinion, I'm projecting this fandom carries over to WNBA now. This fandom does not stay until we got to get the same type of shit that you got out of Caitlin Clark and Angela Reese, what happened at LSU, right? You got to get that same noise. If you don't have that, they're carrying themselves out. And I think that Caitlin Clark, all she did, she boosted the sport, women's sports, but I don't think she boosted enough to say women's college basketball is back on the map. It's leading the men's, because I think that this viewership is going to carry on to pay attention to what can Caitlin Clark do at the WNBA level. WNBA now, commercials, seeing Angela Reese, seeing them in the league together. They're going to have a matchup one day versus each other. You know what I mean? Like that's going to happen. We're going to tune in for that. I know. I mean, I only watch the WNBA when I see the championship game happen, and that's because of some baddies. That one girl, Sabrina, whatever. That's the only reason I know.
Yeah, I know exactly.
Hey, that's the one with the cigar. That's it. That's the only person I know in the WNBA, right? And like that's it. So like I would truly think that it didn't progress women's college basketball enough. I think it just progressed the sport, but it's going to carry on to like which is good. There's no problem with that as well.
Yeah, and yeah, no, I definitely think you're right. And maybe that was even Diana Taurasi's way of like, yo, I got the platform. Everybody just watch this game. Let me throw some shade. You know what I mean? Like let's start some shit. I get what you're saying. It's definitely going to transfer to WNBA, but in relation to what women's college basketball was, I do think it is forever changed. Will it be on the men's level? Will next year's national championship game outdo the men's? No, it probably won't. But in relation to what the women's game was drawing 3 to 5 years ago,
100%,
yeah, I would make a pretty safe bet that you're going to get a lot more. So I think that was the cool thing too during these 2 years of Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, all these girls, is people learned more about Dawn Staley. She ain't going anywhere. People learned more about Kim Mulkey, the LSU coach. She's flamboyant. She's out there. Some people don't like her, which you need. You need villains in sports. You got to learn these coaches. Again, Gino Auriemma has been at UConn forever. Clearly, they aren't going anywhere. So, yeah, I do think that it changed the women's game a bit. Will it do the numbers it did this year? No, I don't think it ever will.
Oh, yeah, you're 100% right. That's enough said. I completely agree. I just wanted to see what she could do because they call her the Steph Curry of women. So, like,
I mean, she is fun. She is fun, yeah.
I always, you know what's funny? I always think of women like that, and it's just being a guy. It's like, can I date a girl that's that nasty in ball and not be able to beat her in ball? Like, at the end of the day, like when you go play basketball with a shawty, that like you're beating her. Like you're beating her. With Caitlin Clark, you're getting body. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you can't do nothing about that. Like, you can't. Like, there's no way you're beating her. So it's like, as a man, how do you deal with that? You have to be a guy who doesn't give a fuck about sports. Like, who's like, oh, I don't care about basketball, because there's no way I can say one-on-one and get my ass kicked. Like, it's always funny to me when I think about that.
Or it's just like whenever she beats you, just like take her to the gym and be like, all right, bench. Who can bench more?
Yeah.
Just like real
yeah, let's get into the gym. That's legit what I was saying in the men's league. Like, I legit, like, there was guys balling. I'm like, bro, I don't even ball. They're like, what do you mean? I'm like, bro, I lift, bro. I'm just out here to have fun. I was like, you see me, bro. Don't act like you don't see this body right now, bro.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, we got sick on the spring ball. Liam brought up a good point that we're starting to see arm injuries coming out and about this year faster than ever. We're seeing a bunch around the league happening. I'll let Liam take this away. So he let me in on a little intel before the pod started, but I wanted to see what his thoughts were, and if anything, because of new rule changes, may be up for conversation at the end of the year.
Yeah, so I think so, and I guess a little bit of a background, because obviously baseball normally takes a back seat around this time of year, but it's stories like this that kind of brings it to the forefront. So there's been a lot of big name pitchers that are going on the injured list, that are seeing doctors potentially for that Tommy John surgery. And Malik, I know you know what that is, but for people who may not, it's essentially what the ACL surgery was in football, right? Yeah. A couple of years ago. If you were getting that, you're out for a year, probably more. Yeah. It's the one thing like you don't want to hear. You almost don't want to say it. But there's been a lot of pitchers' arm injuries with that UCL, which is the tendon that the Tommy John surgery repairs. And it's names like Spencer Strider, the ace on the Braves, one of the best teams in the bigs. I think Justin Verlander is still out. Malik, your boy, Garrett Cole, starting the year on the injured list. The Guardians, Shane Bieber, who was, I know, easy. Who was a Cy Young Award winner, I think 2 years ago for the American League. He has to get Tommy John surgery. He's out for the year. So now the question is kind of becoming, is it a combination, Malik, of these guys that, and again, I was one of these kids that played baseball all year round. It was you play in the spring, you play summer ball, you play fall ball, you train in the winter. Is it a problem? And I agree that it is, that these dudes are just throwing constantly all year round from the age of like 10 and 11. Now, you probably aren't even being looked at that much if you're not throwing high 90s into the hundreds as a pitcher anymore. Like, if you see a guy come out of the bullpen and he's throwing 94, you're saying to yourself, how did he make the team? So it's been a lot of conversation of these guys are just overthrowing. Everything's about velo. But my argument to it as well is, and this is always my argument for the pitch clock, all we're worried about is fans, right? Let's bring more fans in. It'll be better. Well, you're rushing these guys. You're rushing these pitchers to throw 100 miles an hour, rush back to the mound, and in 10 seconds do it again. Then in 10 seconds do it again. Then in 10 seconds contour your arm in a way where you're rotating your wrist and your elbow in a motion that shouldn't be in to throw an off-speed pitches that are 20 to 30 miles an hour less. And another 10 seconds, you got to do it all again. So, Malik, I'm curious to see what you think. I think it's a combo, but I do think that the pitch clock is a little bit to blame because you're rushing these guys into what they're doing. But what do you think the biggest thing is? Is it really these guys are just trying to throw out of their minds hard from a young age to try to get into the bigs?
Yeah, I mean, you're seeing kids. I mean, we were always told, like, you're not allowed to throw curveballs until later on in life, right? Like, that was the thing. Like, save your arm as long as you can. Like, we couldn't even play with fucking wiffle ball because you're starting to throw pitches and throw your arm out, right? That's not happening today. Today is the travel league world, right? You're in travel leagues. Kids are playing for 3 or 4 teams a year, right? They're all year long. They're playing ball. You're starting to see 12-year-olds throw curveballs that are disgusting, right? Like, you're starting to see it earlier and earlier. Definitely is something that comes up, right? But I think I would want to see, like, with that pitch clock, how many more pitches are we seeing in the league now? Like, with that pitch clock, like, what is the difference?
So amount of pitches that you're seeing is the same, right?
Okay.
You'll still see a starter. If all goes well, manager will leave him in from, I'll say, anywhere from like 80 to 100 pitches. So that stayed the same. But to me, it's the speed in which you're going.
Yeah.
Right? Like, think about it, like going to the gym and lifting, right? Like, if you're giving yourself 2 to 3 minutes between a bench set, now you're rushed to 30 seconds to a minute. It's not going to, you know what I mean? Like, it's not going to be as good as a lift. You're going to be more prone to injury. 100%. And not a lot of people are talking about that. And again, I do think a big reason for it is these guys that are just trying to throw 100 miles an hour from as early of an age as they possibly can, because A, that's what they're seeing, and B, that's what now they're being taught. But it's pretty ironic that now here we are in year 2 of the pitch clock, we're 2.5 weeks into the season, and we've had 4 or 5 top 15 pitchers in the league either be out for the season or out for an extended period of time. And you just can't tell me a coincidence like that is just happenstance.
Yeah, it's definitely the rushing. It's definitely you need sometimes it can take 45 seconds till another pitch comes, right? Like in a normal at bat, right? 45 seconds. You're taking that. And it's not just like that's a great example of benching. You're not going from benching and then taking a break and then letting yourself get like just a slow rep. No, they are going full force every pitch. Not getting that applicable break. You're just asking for injury. You're just asking your arm to go 100% quick. To a lot of these guys, like, this is a new year. It's brand new. Their arm isn't trained to do this yet. So like it does take a lot of training to get in your arm shape to keep up with that shot clock pretty much.
Yeah. I mean, even like I'm looking at these names now, like Shohei Ohtani. The reason he's not pitching right now is Tommy John surgery. Jake DeGrom, who's been one of the league's best pitchers. Let's see a couple other big names here. But, I mean, it is, man. And it's a shame because, again, this injury has always been around, right? It's not brand new. But the rate at which we're seeing it, and again, it's the big names that are always going to make these headlines to say, like, oh, this is a problem. If this was happening to dudes that are 4th, 5th in the rotation, maybe they're battling to make the bigs, but they have Tommy John. Like, unfortunately, you're not going to hear about it as much. But now that we are, again, it's just too much of a coincidence that we're seeing now in year 2 of this pitch clock, which they made even faster this year. They decreased it from last year, right? It's a little weird to me that now all of a sudden we're seeing these guys go down.
I agree. That's crazy. Back in the day, you would see if you've seen a guy pitch 98, the high 90s, you're like, whoa.
Holy
like,
shit.
Sitting around 95, 93 was like kind of the norm, like sitting around there. But you see a guy though. I mean, I remember it was crazy seeing the dude the black guy he pitches 100 miles an hour. He's like crazy. He's a closer. He played for Chapman. Played for like the Red. He played for the Yankees as well. Like he was the only known guy I knew that was out here throwing 100 miles an hour, wild as fuck. So yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. But speaking around crazies going around the leagues, we gotta talk about some NFL trades. I think the biggest one that we see come out, he landed on the wrong Texas team, but I think it's starting.
He landed on the Texas team.
Suck my dick, bro. He landed on what I think is going to be the best team in Texas come next year. And I'm giving them that one. Is Stefon Diggs get a trade to the Texans? I mean, it's crazy. Did you see the sound effects of him on the sideline at the Pro Bowl with him and Stroud?
No, I didn't.
There's a sound effects of him and Stroud's like, yo, we got to get you to come down to Houston. He's like, I'm trying to, Brody. What are we doing? At the Pro Bowl, bro. Mic'd up at the Pro Bowl, bro. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to see Diggs get out of the situation. Now, I've seen some people talk about this being a bad case for Diggs. I mean, for Stroud. That this isn't the best situation for him. And I strongly disagree. The reason they're arguing was that Stefon Diggs is a bitcher, complainer, and that's not what Stroud needs right now. Stroud is still a young kid who's going to come up, who doesn't need someone in his ear, all pro, that guy who needs a ball, who's going to complain, who's going to be the all-star type of guy, right? He doesn't need that. I think it's completely different. I think that Diggs is the guy that can lead in the locker room. I think that Diggs is the guy who needs to trust his quarterback and wants to see his quarterback be fucking special. He saw Josh Allen be up here and plummet. He was annoyed with Josh Allen. He was fed up with Josh Allen's bullshit year after year after year of losing the playoffs in the way they did with him not getting fed the ball. Crazy, right? That he wanted to run away. And I'd say that's the reason he left. Is Josh Allen gave me his best years. I gotta go somewhere else. Why not go to Texas? First of all, the bitches, the team, the fucking nightlife is a lot different than fucking Buffalo to Texas. And then you can take a quick flight to go see your bro play in Dallas. Like, come on, bro. Like, why not? Why with a young team, a team that did some deep shit in the playoffs, that if you had a little bit more weapons, could definitely go further into the playoffs too.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, first to that point of people saying, oh, this isn't what he needs, he's in his ear. Look, I get it, right? And first of all, wide receivers always get the diva tag. I mean, we saw with AJ Brown. He shows 1 ounce of emotion. Everyone's like, oh, he's getting traded. He's a diva. He's out. Every wide receiver like slams their helmet out of frustration. If it's any other position, they're like, ah, man. If it's a receiver, he's a diva and he wants out. I think, look, we're thinking or that take to me is a little ridiculous, because the Texans, you know who your starting quarterback is. You really think if they thought he was somebody who couldn't lead a way around Diggs, who may complain here and there, that they would really still make this trade? Yeah. They know who they have in the building. These guys know who they have. D'Amico Ryans has been around the league forever. I think he's one of the best coaches in the NFL. You really think if he's given an earful to CJ Stroud because he didn't get the ball, that nothing's going to be said to him? It's a completely different environment. So, yeah, I'm with you on that stance. I don't think that makes really any sense. Mm-hmm. But he needs to take that back role a little bit. And I think that's how they are going to be successful. We saw a drop-off last year. I don't know what it was. Was it Josh Allen? Totally. Was it the change in the offensive coordinator? Malik, go look at Stefon Diggs' numbers from the first half of the season to the back end. Back into the season, he was one of the worst receivers, bro. Like he was literally playing like a wide receiver 3 on a normal team, not a number 1. Yeah. So if he can take a little bit of a back seat to have Stroud sprinkle it to, Dalton Schultz, Nico Collins, Tank Dell, now Joe Mixon in the backfield a little bit. Like, look, man, and this is where we're going to be the most successful. They will be really successful. Yeah. But I've also think that we saw from CJ Stroud last year nothing but the utmost leadership and respect from every single one of those guys. And I really think if Diggs comes in there and starts to complain, you're going to have the 52 other guys going right up to his face and be like, yo, bro, know your role. We're trying to win here. This is what we did last year. We brought you in to help. Let's fucking do it. And I think Stroud starts with that.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool. I follow all of them on Instagram right now. And seeing them out there right now, they're down training together out in Houston, wherever they train, probably Cali or whatever, but they are training together. They're all down there training. So it's pretty cool to see. You see them with, what's that kid Sketch, like brother? Like,
yeah, I did see that.
I don't understand, what
I don't
they
either.
Do. I know that's the thing he does on the stream. Like, what's up, brother? Like, I know that's his thing.
I don't know how he got this big.
He is a white, he has a, like, whatever, that personality trait or whatever like that. But he got big off of TikTok with like clips with him talking about, like, he had rap lyrics, like, he could rap. So he would rap people's songs. So he's a regular white dude, but he would rap like hood songs. And then like someone put him in a song, like one of these rappers put in a song, and he could rap it. Like, so he was rapping it. Like the dude, like, I forget the lyric was like, I always got my jersey on me like I'm Sketch. Like, because he always wears like the number 7 CJ Stroud Texans jersey. So I keep that jersey on me like I'm Sketch. Like it was a play on that. So like he got him even bigger. Now he's just like all over the place. Like he's training with CJ Stroud and Diggs, bro. Like it's crazy.
That is crazy. That is crazy. Yeah, I saw that video too, and yeah, doesn't look like it's gonna be a problem. And look, again, talk about it. Diggs was frustrated. Yeah. I wonder why. What we've been saying on this podcast, I've been saying on this podcast for 2 years now since we started. Josh Allen's not the elite quarterback we all think he is. 100%. He was frustrated. He was frustrated for not winning. If you're not, then you don't belong in the sport. Then you don't have any competitiveness in you. You 100%. See what the Chiefs are doing to you every single year. And now you get to play with one of the best young quarterbacks in the league that after last year, how many other QBs are you taking over CJ Stroud? Not many. I'll tell you this much. I'm taking Stroud over Josh Allen, and everyone can suck me. Just like they suck Josh Allen if they don't like that take, but I don't think that's even close.
I agree. I completely agree with you, brother. All right, let's get into a new segment. Liam came up with Trust the Rank. So I'll let you lead this one. So Trust the Rank. Let me hear what you have to say on what's the Trust the Rank this episode.
Yeah. So this episode, Malik, we're gonna trust the times of the sports calendar. So this is currently going on. We just finished March Madness, baseball season starting. Like I said in the beginning, the weather's getting nicer. And now for all the golf fans, the Masters, the biggest tournament of all year. Even if you're not a golf fan, you know what the Masters is. You know how big of a deal that it is.
Yeah.
So this is the time of year that a lot of people really love. So with Trust the Rank, all you see all over Twitter, all you see all over these podcasts are people ranking different things. So we got a couple good ones in the chamber for the summer when things die down a little bit. But the rank, and Malik, I'll have you lead this off. Rank me your favorite times of the year in the sports calendar.
Yeah, I think you already know where I'm going. I'm going, the best season is for me the fall. But to me, it's not necessarily the fall. It's the end of summer. It's that for me, because of my job is I work in higher education, so colleges. So late August going to September, it's new incoming students. Campus is back to being live after being dead all year, as well as you're hitting peak baseball and it's time for football to get over with. You got Hard Knocks. You got that's getting out the way. That's keeping us alive for a little bit of August. And now we're at the regular season. So peak baseball, peak football starting to get football back together, and we're starting to hit that college football realm. That's the best time of the year. You're about to hit you're going to get in rival week a little bit later, but at least some good games to start off in August. The best time of the year for me. It's starting to get to like that fall time, like that heat is starting. You could think past that summer heat. So that's my favorite time of the year.
Yeah, I love it. Well, that's your number one. I'll go. My number one is probably this March into April. It's March Madness, the all games Thursday and Friday that you get the first weekend. I'm the baseball guy, so just the start of spring training leading into opening day, which should be a national holiday. And then again, you get the Masters, which is a nice like kind of cool off from watching nothing but college basketball for the past 2 weeks. And I'm not the biggest like golf fan. I've gotten more into it, and like you're learning some of the bigger names now, and like watching it is fun. But it's the Masters, it's the green jacket. So this is definitely, look, like I said, weather's getting nicer. Baseball's going into full swing. You have the best tournament in all of sports, pro or college, starting and wrapping up. And then you have the biggest golf tournament of the year. I don't think anything beats it.
I don't think anymore, bro. I don't think no more. I don't think that's the best tournament, bro. This year, college football is going to be the best tournament, bro. We're extending the teams. We're coming back. You don't forget about that one. Don't forget.
We'll see. What's your number two?
Number two, I'm going to have to. I'll give it to you for the simple fact of the worst time of the year is that die-out period. I don't know when it is. Is that time and period where there's no sports on for a couple of weeks? Like there's basketball season's over with. Baseball is waiting. We're waiting for something to happen. We're waiting for sports. But I would definitely go with your number one pick would be number two for me. And it's simply about the fact that like I love seeing March Madness go crazy. Like I love seeing like the upsets, the crazy game winners, the teams who you didn't even know even existed to get into the tournament and make noise for themselves. Like that to me is the best time, as well as I think you're 100% right. You know, we both played baseball our entire lives. There's no better feeling than opening day and getting like getting on like the field and being like, all right, we're back. It sucks because always you're going to deal with rain delays. You're going to get rained out in the beginning of the year. So you're like, fuck, bro, I just want to ball out. I just want to ball out on the field. So I 100% feel that. But yeah, obviously that's my number two. That's my number two.
Yeah. Well, I'll go 2 and 3 because my 2 is your one as well. It's the start of football and back end playoff baseball. I mean, nothing beats it. Hopefully the Phillies can get it done this year, but also like, man, there's like that feeling of week 0 in college football, right? Like before NFL kicks off, like you still have a week, but like it's here. Like it's finally fucking here. You still have the summer weather. Sometimes it's like even the Saturday in August, right? It's like that Memorial Day weekend, so you get that extended weekend. Like, man, there's just like a different feeling about that first Saturday, week 0 in college football. But my number 3, I think I'd probably have to go in that late December, early January bowl season. But it's also for me when basketball really kind of kicks into gear, right? So the bowls, it's just nice to have day football on like a Wednesday when you can watch like the fucking Cheez-It Bowl or whatever. But again, now, like you mentioned, with this college football playoff expanding to 12 teams, it's going to be even better.
That's true.
To watch, some of the bigger teams go up and have them actually care, right? Because you would have teams like Alabama who may have missed the college football playoff, or like Tennessee, who's right there. Half the roster doesn't play because why would they? Now we're not going to have that as much. And again, for me, the tip off to the NBA season is Christmas Day. So now you can kind of really start getting into basketball season. So I think for me, like kind of having those 2 with that back end, and then obviously Christmas, but having back end of December, you bring in the new year into January with all these bowls and basketball season officially, unofficially tipping off. I think that's probably my number 3.
No, it's 3 for sure, but it's the saddest time for me because I don't really give a fuck about basketball. Baseball season's done. I have just got fucked over by the Cowboys. I have hopes for something to happen with Ohio State, right? Either way, it's great football to end out the bullshit with the Cowboys. So I have great football and college football during that time. So it's like I'm at the highest point, but it's like when like, okay, this isn't going to last forever and I have to get back to reality. It's like I never wanted that to end. Like college football this year was amazing to the end, right? Like it was amazing all the way through. So it's like that's what I love. Like I love what, and you just hate it after the championship game. Be like, fuck, it's done. Like that's it. Like now I'm on to that's the worst time for me because like I don't care about basketball. I have baseball. I've been watching a lot of baseball. There's nothing for me to watch until we get to now. You know what I mean? So all winter, I'm just like I could care less about basketball. And now we're just talking shit on how the season ended for both of us.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you're not wrong. It's almost one of those things like it's bittersweet watching like that Michigan Bama game. You couldn't wait for it.
Yeah.
It didn't disappoint, but then it was over, and you're like, "Fuck!" Now we only have one more college football game to go. So I do get what you're saying.
Yeah, so it's a sad ending, but great. Anything else, brother? Any last words?
No, I think watch out for our Sixers, undefeated since Joel Embiid came back. I've been sending Von tweets like 10 a day. He's got to be annoyed. I've been saying he's the best player in the world. So since we've gotten him back, we're undefeated. So look out for the playoff run.
Yo, I think
that's when it matters. To be fair, Javon's only come back to me with, "Oh, I got to see in the playoffs," which is totally fair. So hopefully this year's a little different.
He's just giving us that smoke after what we did for Lamar. That's it. Yeah. Just doing the same thing. Yo, I think he took that from me, man. I've always been saying, brother. He was never saying, "What's up, brother?" Like, yo, he might be watching the pod, bro. I just thought about that. Yeah. He might be watching the pod. But if you are, bro, shout us out real quick. But hey, guys, make sure you support the podcast. Follow us on Instagram at WeTrust_podcast. Listen to us on Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Spotify. Watch us on YouTube. Also listen to us on Apple Music. I'm not Apple Music. I'm sorry, Amazon Music. And follow Liam on the Instagram at
Liam Stokes 11.
Trust up, guys. Thank you.
Thanks, Lee.